Live.
Good morning and welcome to Artistic Artifacts Saturday Morning Facebook Live. Hi, I'm Barbara and
I'm Katherine.
So today we're going to be presenting part 2 of our Quilting of the Quilt presentation. And as you remember, a couple weeks ago, I showed you how easy it was to quilt on the Q20 machine, the sit-down version. I have mine and I love my Q20 sit-down. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that today, and then Katherine is going to discuss with you and demonstrate quilting in the hoop. Yeah. Okay. So, but first I have a couple of general announcements. I'm putting on my Judy hat right now. Today is the 5th Saturday of the month, and we always have something fun for you in store on these 5th Saturdays. So today we're offering both in store and online the 25% off all Artistic Artifacts curated bundles and pre-cuts. Then in the store only, 40% off any bolts that you finish the entire bolt. So if you're quilting a quilt right now and you're working on a quilt and you need some backing, today is the best time to do it because this ends in the store today when we close at 4 o'clock. So come on over and get a couple of quilt backings. It's at a great price. Next weekend, we'll be hosting a Q-Series event that we've been talking about. We're very excited about it. Classes are filling up, but there's still a few slots left. We will have BERNINA Educator Betsy Carlson running the classes, and she's going to give you some hands-on time. The class fee includes a wonderful kit from BERNINA that has a ruler in it, and she's going to show us how to use those when we make the kit. So it's a great opportunity for you to get some hands-on time and see if this is a machine that you might like. I love mine. I've had it for 2.5 years, and I really enjoy sewing on it. Then we have, so these classes are under the workshop and events tab on our website. So go there, head there and look for those classes. That's April 5th and 6th. And then later on in April is our Creative Summit, and we have 4 wonderful national teachers, including our own Judy Gula, who is our cameraman today. And so this is a fabulous opportunity for you to take a class from one of these wonderful ladies. We have Libby Williamson, who is an award-winning mixed media fiber artist. We have Liz Kettle, who is a fabric and mixed media artist and has published several books, of which you can find here in the store. We also have Gwen LaFleur, who is a lifelong artist, and last but not least, Judy. So again, check under that workshops and events tab on our website so that you could see which of these classes. There's a good description of all the classes that they're offering. So read those descriptions and sign up for a couple, please, because they're great classes. So today we're going to continue on the theme of quilting your own quilts. And I showed you, like I said, on how to do on the sit down, but Katherine is going to show you today how to use your module for quilting your quilt. So with that, Katherine, I'm going to segue to you here.
All right. I have a Q20 at home too, and like Barbara, I just love it because I then can complete my quilts myself.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do mostly on my Q20 is ruler work. So that means a lot of straight lines for me and a lot of stitching in the ditch. And so this is the quilt that I'm working on. And it's some leftover blocks because I wanted to practice. And I like to pin base my quilts. And so you'll see some pins still left in here. But what I did on my Q20 was I did a lot of stitching in the ditch of the straight lines and the diagonal lines. But, and that secured the quilt so I could take out most of the pins. But when you look at this, the pattern is very angular and has a lot of points. And so I thought I needed something more rounded to add to the quilting. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to try my embroidery module because I know on my 770 that there are there's a folder with some quilting designs in it. So I decided that I wanted to go and try that with that. And I have done that on a few blocks. Here's one, for instance. I'm putting this built-in machine embroidery pattern into these 4-inch blocks to start with. And then after I get those done, I'll decide what else I want to do to the quilt. So, let's drop my papers here. Excuse me.
we're still working off cheat sheets. We haven't quite gotten the totally wing it by the seat of our pants method down yet. So
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
using our cheat sheets here today.
So let's go over to the machine and I will show you how I decided what to do on here. So get cozy with my quilt here. So when you on your BERNINA machines that have the embroidery module capability, this is the home screen, and you can choose either a sewing function or an embroidery function. So for today, we're going to choose the embroidery function. I'm going to go to the folders and see what's available. So this shows me that there are a folder of fonts, there's a folder of designs, and then if I find designs that I really like, the heart is a folder where I can add my personal favorites. So let's go to the designs and see what they have available. Notice there are more folders on a second page here, but this very first folder is the quilting designs. So let's open that. And you can see there are 6 pages of design. Some of them are circular, some of them are arcs, some have corners, and there's borders and large designs and a nice variety. So I did some test designs first. It's important to always do a test design when you're using your embroidery module. And the first one I stitched out was this one. And I thought that has nice curves, but it's too big. So I kept testing out, and the one that I found that I liked is on the first screen, the lower left corner, and it's this one right here. And so I stitched it out, and then I saw that would fit nicely into my 4 by 4 inch squares. So I cut my sample to 4 inches by 4 inches so that I could put it on the quilt and see how, just lay it on there and see how it would look. And I could decide, did I want this kind of an orientation or this kind of an orientation? So that was nice to practice before I started on my quilt.
I find auditioning my designs before I stitch them on my quilt very helpful.
Right.
So that I don't do a big mistake and have to unstitch a lot. And this is a great way to do that.
Yes. So there's a few things with any embroidery design that you might have to do. And the first one is tension, that's over here. I did not have to adjust the tension for this. And so I was pretty much ready to sew. But before we do that, I wanted to show you how to hoop a quilt. So let's move over to the cutting table to get some space, and we will talk about hooping this.
So Katherine, hooping a quilt has to be a lot different than hooping an embroidery project. It's bigger and more bulky.
Yes.
So can you offer us any tips on how to do this in the hoop? Is it any different?
It is. So that's a really good question. So the first thing is that it's a lot thicker. And so this would be difficult to put into the normal hoops that have the inner hoop and the outer hoop. Okay. And so BERNINA has designed a hoop that's called a clamp hoop. And here's what the box looks like. I'm going to be using this medium clamp hoop today. And this works especially well for quilts and bulky items. Like if you had a very, very bulky towel that you wanted to do, really thick terry cloth that would be hard to hoop, you can use this medium clamp hoop. So I'm going to open the box and show you what comes in here. So it's a little different than the other hoops. So what we get is, it's taped on here. We get this one hoop only. Okay. And we get a set of clamps that goes with the hoop. and these clamps take the place of the inner hoop.
Right, okay.
And then what I particularly like is we get this template. Here's one that's open. This template is for positioning your quilt in the hoop.
Okay, so you can get your design centered correctly.
Yes, and it's so convenient because I don't have to do a lot of marking on my quilt.
Okay.
I can use these marks that are on the acrylic template.
Okay.
So I really like this, and it's very, very convenient. So I wanted to, let's get this one out of the way. And I'll show you with this one. It's noisy, these clamps. You get 12 clamps with your hoops, and it's recommended that you use all 12 clamps. You clamp one in the middle on one side, then the second opposing side so you can get it taut. Then you do these two sides, get it nice and taut. And then it's recommended that you put 3 clamps on each side so that you have 12 clamps going around. I find with the quilt, it's pretty stable by itself because it has that batting in it already.
Okay.
So it's not going to move much. So I usually only have to use 2 clamps per side. So that's what we're going to do today. So the hoop goes underneath. Let's see. I'm going to arrange this so that we don't have a lot of bulk. And you can see I still have some pins in here, but not in the part that I'm going to do. Now this is the part I really like. You put this template on here, and I know that this square is about 4 inches, so I want to find the 4-inch line, the 4-inch square. And these X, if I put that on the 4 corners of my square, like this.
Oh, that's very cool.
I know I'm going to be...
centers it perfectly.
Exactly.
And it's so easy.
Corner to corner, corner to corner. So I'm going to so I'm pressing down. This template is now sitting inside of the hoop the hoop is underneath it here.
And this is a much heavier template than the other hoops come from, made to accommodate the bulk of the quilt. It's very
thick, this acrylic, so I don't have to worry about this bending or breaking at all. So I'm going to put it in here. Now here's my 4-inch line, so I'm okay going one direction, but not, I'm a little bit too far over on the other direction. So let's just work. You can see my square is not exactly 4 by 4, but what I want to do is, like what we said, is make sure that these diagonal lines are going corner to corner, because then I know I have the center of the hoop is exactly on the center of my design. So I'm going to hold that firmly. I'm going to put in a clamp, and it's easier if you kind of rotate them. So 2 hands. Push it in tightly. Then I want to go directly opposite this one to go here, so I can pull it tightly. Then I'll go here and here. And I want these clamps to be tight like this, even though it's a little bit of a job to get them on there. Now I can see that I want to move this a little to keep this centered. Okay, now let's put this one in. What I was saying was I want these clamps to be very tight, because that means it holds the item into the hoop nice and tightly. All right, so now I like to really push down on these, make sure I have them all hooped, and we're ready to go to take this to the machine. So here's what it looks like on the front. This hoop is on the back. So we'll take this in here, and let's move on over to the machine. So I have this machine set up, with the embroidery module already on it, you want to attach that first. And then since this quilt is so heavy, after I had the embroidery module on, and I can move it out of the way so that I can then put my slide-on table on. This slide-on table provides a good solid surface to hold up that quilt. It also helps kind of make sure that the quilt isn't getting up underneath the embroidery. So, Chris, you look like you have a question.
I didn't realize that the slide-on could go on when you have the embroidery module on there. That's cool.
I didn't either. I didn't think it would fit at all. So in order to make it easier, I pressed this hoop icon over here, and then you can see this park icon with the left arrow got it out of the way. So that's the way I get the module arm out of the way in order to put the slide-on table on.
Show that one more time.
Yes, here we press the hoop function, and then it's already parked. It's this P for, it's a parking sign, and I'm going to park it way over to the left, and it's there. You notice I can park it in the center, I can park it up to the back, or I can park it to the left. So I'm done moving my, I'm done with my hoop management, so I'm going to X out of that. And here's the design that I selected. So I want to make sure that this is going to be centered. So I'm in the editing screen, the pencil here. I can now work on the design and I can edit it. I'm going to push the information button. And down here I have an icon that is the 4-point check. It has the arrows at the 4 corners and it says check. So I'm going to press that. The module moved in, and now it's telling me go ahead and put your hoop on. So I'm going to, thank you, Barbara, put this hoop on by getting the quilt under there. And I still have the template in there because I want to do a little checking. Now, let's get this hoop over like this. Get it underneath here. Well, move this clamp over a little bit. No. All right, here. We're gonna get this. There we go.
That I find going catty corner on the corners works really well.
So the clamp is under here. It's right here. And I'm gonna, if I hold this, maybe.
You want me to?
Sure. Can you clamp that in there, please?
Sorry about my arm being in front of the camera, Kyle. All right. I do believe it's clamped in for you.
It is. And now the machine says it's going to move. So I said, okay. Now what it's doing is showing me the top left corner. I want to check and make sure where the center is. So I'm going to press this target. I'm in this 4-point check right here. I'm going to press the target. And this gives me an opportunity to make sure that the needle is right above this center hole in the template. And so I can move my hand wheel just a little bit, and you can see that that needle goes right down in there. So I'm good. This was just a check to make sure. So I want to now get this. Oh, my clamp is coming off a little bit. I'm going to X out of this because I know it's all right, and I'm going to pull this template out of here because I don't want to be stitching on the template. And now there's no need to do further editing to this because I know it fits and I have it centered. And on my test piece, I checked everything like tension, etc. So now I move from the edit tab down to the sewing tab. I'm ready for it to start. All right. So one thing, you don't want on a quilt to get a nest of bobbin thread at the bottom. So I'm going to use my needle up, needle down function here so that I do one stitch And that allows me to pull up the bobbin thread. Can you see that? I have two threads. I'm holding the top thread and the bobbin thread. So I'm going to hold these while the design starts. So the machine is ready. I'm going to push it, and I'm going to take a few stitches, and then I'm going to stop it because I want to cut these off so that they don't get in the rest of the design. So I had some scissors over here, and I can lift the presser foot, and I can carefully cut these two tails off. I said carefully because I have on occasion cut my embroidery thread as well.
Oh,
That's just disturbing. Okay. So we are ready to start again. So let's go ahead and watch the machine do its work.
now, Katherine, what kind of thread did you choose?
Oh, that's a good question. On the top, I have regular 50 weight thread.
Okay.
Because that's what I used with the Q20 to do the stitch in the ditch, and I wanted it to match.
Okay, yeah.
But for the bobbin, I switched to the lighter weight thread. I'm using Deco Bob, which is an 80 weight, because embroidery designs are digitized so that they're expecting a lighter weight thread on the bottom. So I chose a color of Deco Bob for the bobbin thread that would look okay with the back. And what I chose was a matching thread to my top thread. So that's a good question. What I like about using this is that it's consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I am not very good yet at doing free motion quilting with feathers and curves and things like that. And so I thought this machine can make sure that each one of these little blocks with this in the center is going to look the same.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
For me, it was a great solution. So like I said, I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do maybe in these white areas over here, but I'm going to finish up these little blocks first all over the quilt and then decide how I'll finish.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So we're done. So I can click on the racing flag here because the design is done. It's telling me that. And it has cut the threads underneath. It's only leaving little bitty tails about 1/2 inch long that are easy for me to clip off later. And it's ready to start again. Now, BERNINA says that since I have the slide-on table, it's strong enough for me not to have to remove the hoop, but to just unclamp this. And it's easier to unclamp by rolling these outwards.
Good, because I sometimes have trouble unclamping those clamps.
So you can just...
Thank you for showing me the easy way to do it.
Roll them outwards. Well, I'm at a funny angle, so there you go. I can't get this one. There. Anyway, so I could unclamp all of that, leave the hoop on the machine, move over to my next square.
Oh, very nice.
Put the acrylic template back in to make sure it's centered, and reclamp it because the table's underneath here.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so I'm not having to take this quilt back to the cutting table to reposition the hoop again. So that's a very, very nice feature and a reason to have that slide-on table underneath here. So that's all you have to do. So it's pretty
It's
Pretty
very
nice.
easy,
Yeah.
very easy, and a lovely design.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
does anybody have any questions about the procedure?
What machine were we working on? And I don't know if they can hear me, so you might.
Oh, okay. We are working on the BERNINA B770 QE Plus, and this one is the Kaffe edition. But the quilting designs are on all the 770s. There are also quilting designs on the 570s and the 790s, 790 Pro.
They might vary a little between each model
Right.
machine. You get more on the 7 series machines than you do on the 5 series machines, but there's definitely a nice assortment of options on all the machines.
Right. And there were 6 pages of quilting designs here. Now, since this
Six
is
folders.
6
right?
folders, well, no, 6 pages of
In that
different
folder.
folders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, here's what I meant. There's six pages of different designs. Now, let's go up again to the folders. And since this is a Kaffe machine, I can show you the Kaffe folder. And you'll see it has cross-stitch patterns. But as we page through, it also has Kaffe quilting patterns that match his fabrics. Like, for instance, here's the beach balls. So if you have the beach ball fabric, you could put beach balls in your border. I've used that. Over here, we have the flowers. Are they petunias? I can't remember the name.
I think they're petunias.
Anyway, so you can match your Kaffe quilting designs to the Kaffe fabric. And it comes, like, here's the beach balls and other options for the beach balls that are in a nice square here. So you could fill a block with beach balls. So that's a fun thing about the Kaffe edition machines, is you get those extra patterns.
Well, you also get
all the
gifts with purchase and the trolleys and everything with the Kaffe.
There's a wonderful embroidery bundle that comes with the Kaffe machine with several DVDs that are specific just to this bundle. You can't buy them separately from OESD. So it's a nice, and they're all Kaffe designs, which is great. And it also has a pre-cut bundle, some threads, some stabilizers. It's a great embroidery bundle.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of stabilizers, I don't know if I mentioned that you don't need to put stabilizer with a quilt. I may have said that because the quilt has the batting and it's already stable enough. So you don't have to worry about adding a stabilizer underneath here when you're doing the quilting on the module. So, any other questions?
Actually, we've got a few. Well, our friend and fellow dealer, Kathy Buck,
nice.
commented that you might have to repeat because I'm definitely not getting picked up. The 790 actually has a different format for when we were going over the different designs and things like that. But it's
790 can use a BQM.
Yes, that's true. That the 790 Pro, you can import BQM files, which are the embroidery files that are used on the Q series machines. So you have a plethora of extra designs that you could use for machine embroidery or quilting in the hoop on your machine. So that allows you a whole lot of new designs and possibilities.
The 790
good
Pro
point.
definitely has a lot of features that the 770 does not, like the 4-point placement and the morphing of the pattern designs to fit a specific quilt block size and shape.
Okay, Judy said we have 790 Pros in stock and the gift with purchase is still available. So with the 790 Pro, I wouldn't need this acrylic sheet.
Right.
Because with the 790 Pro capabilities, I could show with a laser pointer where the four corners of my little blue blocks are, and then the machine would center the design within those 4 corners. Yeah, so it eliminates a step.
Yeah.
Also, you notice my allegedly 4-inch square here was not exactly 4 inches. And so if I had had even more trouble, the 790 Pro allows me to do morphing, which means it can even skew that square design a little bit if I had really, really not made these very, very square. So that's an added feature.
Two questions.
Okay.
Does the template come with a hoop?
Yes, it does. In the box, you get the square hoop, the template, and 12 of these clamps. The clamp hoops also come in a smaller size. This
Yes.
one is called the medium size. There's also a smaller size clamp hoop as well.
And that one will fit machines with a smaller throat space, like
Correct.
the 5 Series machines.
Right.
You would use the small clamp hoop.
And then, would you recommend a certain speed to stitch out your quilting design, or is it?
Yes, this right now I'm about at medium. Actually, for all here's the speed control right here. It's right on the front of the machine. And so I'm about halfway. So I'm on medium. I can go slower to the left or faster to the right. But for all embroidery, I keep it right about medium. Or if it's a very dense embroidery design, I'll even push it down a little bit this way. It's worth it to me to slow the machine down and wait a little bit longer to make sure that I'm getting good stitch quality. So
Yes.
the machine does its job. If you go too fast, the machine can do it. It keeps up. But what happens is your fabric can start bunching because it's not absolutely tight in the regular embroidery hoop. So if you go too fast, you might start getting a little fabric bunching, not on a quilt, but with normal embroidery.
Okay. Good to know.
Patterns.
A few things that the slide-on table comes with the machine. Is that correct?
I believe it
Yeah,
does.
the slide-on
Yes.
table does come with the machine. So, and it comes with the machine whether you get the embroidery unit or not. The slide-on table is in the package.
And people are asking if this will be able. We have some late joiners, so if they'll be able to view this,
Yes.
later.
The Facebook Live episodes are then posted on the YouTube channel.
And also on our Artistic Artifacts page, Facebook page.
They stay on the Facebook page for a month, and then, but by Monday we should have it up on our YouTube channel.
Okay, so Chris is telling us that they'll stay on the Facebook page for a month, and by Monday, we'll have it also uploaded to the YouTube channel, so you can watch it either way. All right, so I hope everybody comes in today to get that quilt backing on our 40% off end of bolt sale. We're staffed and ready for you. We've got a line waiting at the door, so we're going to sign off now so that we can let these early birds into the store. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Enjoy.